What happens when one moment changes the direction of your life and you must decide how you are going to move forward? On July 20th, 2017, Matthew Fumo dove into shallow water while swimming with friends near the Longport Bridge in Ocean City, New Jersey. He struck his head on the bottom, sustained a C4 spinal cord injury, and was paralyzed from the shoulders down. He was told he could remain on a breathing tube for up to 3 years and would never move anything below his neck again. But Matt's story did not end with what he was told. It truly is incredible, the recovery that he has had. In today's episode, Matt and his sister Julia Fumo share the realities of that day, the long and continuing road of recovery, and what the experience taught their entire family about resilience, hope, support, and moving forward. It not only taught their family, but it also taught the entire community. Today, Matt is president of Unbroken Motion and Julia serves as secretary of the board. Together, they are building a community to support individuals living with spinal cord injuries and the families who are walking beside them. Learn more, get involved, or support their mission at unbrokenmotion.org. And also, don't forget to follow them at Unbroken Motion on Facebook and Instagram. And before we begin, also don't forget to download and follow the Today is the Day Changemakers podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. We also love reviews. And subscribe to the Today is the Day Changemakers YouTube channel. You can also follow Today is the Day Live It on Facebook and Instagram. Please like, comment, and share because every interaction helps us bring these powerful stories to more people around the globe. My book, our book, 31 of Us, in Today is the Day Live It, Edge of Comfort to Center of Impact, is available online via Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, and many other major retailers. Now let's meet Matthew and Julia Fumo and hear their truly incredible story. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast. I'm your host, Jody Hope Grinwald, and as I say every single episode, I interview the changemakers, the inspirers, and those who are disrupting the status quo. And I actually think this is probably the first time that I'm interviewing someone that I knew 14 years ago who was friendly with my daughter. So I'm excited about this, Julia, that we get to connect again. But the story, as you listeners will hear, it's one that's working out really well, but it brought us back together for a reason here that was a little bit more of a challenge. And I want to introduce first Matthew Fumo. Hi, Matthew. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And Julia Fumo, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I'm going to read a little of your bios, and then we're going to get into a conversation. So Matthew Fumo is president of Unbroken Motion. In 2017, Matt sustained a spinal cord injury that completely changed the direction of his life. He had to learn how to navigate recovery from the beginning and figure out what it meant to rebuild independence piece by piece. Through that process, he saw how important access to therapy, adaptive equipment, and the right support system really matters. For the past 3 years, Matt has been working at Project Walk, where he sees these same challenges every day and works alongside individuals and families who are fighting to keep moving forward. That's what led him to start Unbroken Motion, which is focused on building a space where people feel supported, understood, and part of a community that wants to see them succeed. And then Julia Fumo is the secretary of Unbroken Motion. She earned her bachelor's degree of science in health, bachelor of science in health sciences, inspired by her experience growing up around hospitals and helping care for her dad during his illness, as well as supporting her brother Matt after he became paralyzed. Through these experiences, she has saw firsthand how important community support is for both individuals and their families, and how much it can shape the recovery journey. Well, first of all, it's just a beautiful thing to see a brother and sister working together and doing something together. So kudos
Joel,
to both of
Joel.
you. And how does that feel though, right? It wasn't an expectation, I'm sure, way back when. But before I get you to answer that question, Matt, what year did you have your accident?
2017.
What month of that
Yeah.
year?
It's coming up July 20th.
Okay. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it'll be 9 years.
So can you tell everybody what happened, which I know is not probably the easiest of things to have to repeat every single time you have to share it.
Yeah, I don't mind. I was swimming with friends underneath Longport Bridge in Ocean City, New Jersey. and it was like a spot we were going to every day of the summer. And one time a friend came on a jet ski, and when we were jumping in, I said to another friend, first one there gets to ride the jet ski. And so I dove in head first, being super competitive. And I actually thought I was going to hit the jet ski in midair. And then I decided to go for the bottom instead. And then it turned out the water was probably like 3 feet deep. And I hit the bottom with my head. And I was paralyzed from the C4 spinal cord, and I was paralyzed from shoulders down. And I was told I would be on a breathing tube for a year to 3 years, and then I would never move anything under my neck again.
Oh my goodness. So when you just to kind of go through the story a little bit, when that happened, paramedics came, they took you to a local hospital, I'm assuming, and and your family was notified. And Julia, that had to be a moment you won't. I want to cry just like thinking about that moment. It had to be a moment that you never can forget. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was actually on the other side of Ocean City swimming with my friends in the bay, like diving in, jumping off the dock. And my dad had called me. And I guess maybe my dad wasn't the best person to deliver the news, because he was, a bit stressed out. But he basically called me, and really all he could say was, something happened to Matt. He was diving and something happened to his neck. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if he's gonna be okay, but he's in the hospital. I gotta go. Um, yeah, and that was pretty much it. So I was just like, luckily I had my two friends there with me, but I was more so just like in shock a little bit, smiling in a way, just like what the heck is that? What's going on? But weirdly, I like kind of just thought things would be okay. I was like very calm. Um, and yeah, it was very, for some reason I was very calm. I don't know. It was like scary, obviously, but I think we've been through some like family things before when it comes to like disease or injury. So to me, I was like, oh, this is just maybe another thing. I think Matt's gonna be fine. So I didn't really have too much of the details, but I really did think he was gonna be okay immediately.
And then when you went to the hospital and saw him, what were your thoughts then?
I guess that was the first time that I was like, oh, you know what? This is much different than what we've experienced before. I, my family, I was 16 at the time, and my family didn't want me to see him right away. So I think I went the second day. The first night after the accident, he had a surgery within like 5 hours of the injury. And then um, the next day, I don't think they wanted me to go in. So I went the 22nd. And I think that was definitely when it hit me, because you kind of like walk through a hospital and you're like, oh, I like being in the hospital. I'm so used to it. It's so familiar. And then you turn the corner, and to see me and Matt have always been extremely close. So it's like to see your sibling, like, I don't know how else to describe it other than he looked so big in the room, like in this bed attached to so many things, wires, ventilators. And then just like I thought I would walk into a room and I was expecting him to be like, "Hey, Jewel, like blah blah blah, like I'm gonna be fine." But you walk in and it's like he's just not there in a way. And I walked up to him and it's like, Matt, like trying to wake him up a little bit, thinking that he would, but all that happened was his eyes like kind of shot open and stared at me and like just like welled with tears and rolled back into his head. And like that to me was the first time I did doubt that he would be okay. And that was like probably like the most shocking moment of my life. But you just really don't expect that when, I don't know, you've been around it so much, with our dad having cancer and everything. But yeah, it's crazy. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. So that was like the first time I was like, oh no, not good.
Do you remember any of that, Matt?
Oh, me. Um, so I remember the actual injury of when I was in the water and like when my friends had to flip me over. That was that was an experience. For it was very chaotic, like in my head, where it felt like a microphone or a megaphone throughout the water was just like saying my thoughts out loud. And it was just a lot of like super anxiety about how I just like ruined my life and I'm not going to be able to get out of here. And then I heard my friends saying, stop joking around after a bit of time, which felt like eternity. And all of a sudden, I like kind of not give up, but I just like kind of accepted death in that moment. And so everything got really peaceful out of nowhere, where I thought, oh, I don't really have any more human responsibility. And I felt weightless at that moment. And then
That was when
I
you were
heard,
upside
what?
down, right?
Yeah, I was upside down in the water, where since I couldn't move, I couldn't even show that I was not joking around and I couldn't flip myself. And so it got really peaceful. And then I heard my friend jump in the water pretty pretty soon after that moment. And he flipped me over. And my first thought back was like, I guess the journey continues a little bit. And outwardly, what I was saying to my friend was, my life is over, my life is over. And I just like kept repeating that monotonely and very quietly just because I didn't really have a voice because I couldn't breathe that well. Because C4 affects the lungs as well. So I couldn't really speak too well. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah, that's good you shared that because I don't know that everybody would know that.
yeah. And so after that, they floated me at the or at the surface or at the shoreline just because there's a nurse on the beach at the time. And so she told us just to float me there so that everything's stable in my spine. And like on the beach, it'll make it worse. So we waited until paramedics. And then I'm trying to think. My mom showed up. I said I love you to her. And then after that, I don't remember the next, I would say 4 days. Yeah, they just put me under heavy
I was going to ask you,
medication.
yeah,
And
I was going to ask you if they put you in a like an induced coma, or if they just knocked you out.
yeah, more just knocked me out.
He
Yeah,
had like fentanyl pipelined to his heart. So
yeah.
you could get his attention. He'd wake up for maybe like a couple seconds the first couple days. Um, but
I, yeah, I actually thought I was in a hotel with like my friends getting like very drunk. And I was wondering why my family was there allowing me to get like this messed up until it was after the breathing tube when I got that out that I was off all the medication. And my uncle actually came in to the hospital and he was like, do you even know where you are? And I thought I was in Philly, but I was in Atlantic City in Atlantic Care Hospital.
Wow. just you're a miracle. You know what I mean? That's what you are. You're an absolute miracle. I mean,
Yeah, thank
if
you.
your friends waited any longer, there's so many ifs, right? I'm sure you've gone through them
Hmm.
in your mind.
All the time, yeah.
So what do you tell somebody there who's on the beach now? Because, right, I think there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of these stories that, you know what I mean, I've heard, and I've heard adults who have done this, and they have, gotten hurt to the point too and stayed paralyzed.
Hmm.
It sounds like fun, and it can be fun, but the water is the water, and it's you don't know what you don't know. So there's this fun teenager out there right now who thinks that he's or she's invincible. What advice do you give? And I'm going to ask you both that same question.
Um, I mean, I don't really like telling people what to do, but it you have to know that where you're diving into, and really you shouldn't dive unless you see what the bottom is in like a pool. But you just have to be careful with pretty much everything you do. Just know your surroundings. Yeah.
Julia?
Yeah, I think definitely what I learned from that is never dive into dirty water. Always be able to see the bottom,
Hmm.
and know exactly how many feet it is. And then also, his friends were a huge part in saving him
Hmm.
because they never took him out of the water when they flipped him over, which, if you were to lift someone out of the water, it could unstabilize their neck. And that is like, they followed all the right steps, basically, and they didn't even probably know, but they kept his head stabilized in the water. They stayed there with him, and just let him float. So that
Yeah,
was
shout out.
everything just like went exactly how it should have to be able to get here.
Yeah.
So when they came and they took you out of the water, they had to be so extremely careful with you.
Hmm.
So I'm sure you had a huge team of people that you wouldn't know because you were probably out at that point that came and supported you. You said in 4 days they took, is that when they took the breathing tube out in four days after?
Yeah.
And then what was the prognosis? What were they saying?
Um, I think Julia would probably know more than me because, yeah, I was pretty
You
out
were
of it.
out of it. Yeah.
I do want to shout out Parker, Harry, Tony, and Brett. They're the ones that were there. Yeah.
Kudos to them for sure.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So the first night they said, there's no signals. There's nothing. He's not going to be able to move. You guys are going to have to adjust your whole life. Things are going to be really different, but there's no chance. There's really no chance. But they did the surgery and they fused his spinal cord C4 and C5 together. Um, and his surgeon was like this really young guy, and he just was amazing. He did the surgery perfectly, and we still didn't know, but I think it was 2 days later when I went, I was there. We were kind of sitting around him, and he just okay, so how do I say? You're kind of like laying in a bed a bit, but he just like went, "Eh," and we were like, what was that? And the doctors were saying it was probably like muscle spasms, blah, blah, blah. But then he could kind of hear us at that point. And we were like, Matt, was that you? And then he would like open his eyes and like look at us trying to be like, yes, yes, that was me. So he started just being able to slightly move his hand back and forth a bit. And so that was like we were all celebrating that, like jumping up and down in the hospital room, so happy because I mean that means that he could move a wheelchair um by himself one day if he could work on that and get that better. And then but by the fourth day when he got the ventilator out, we were really happy with that because they did say it would take like, oh, sorry, my cat.
No, that's okay. We love animals in here.
They did say it would take like a year to 2 years, if not, a really long time. So sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, you're good. You're good. How old were you then, Matt? How old were you when you got hurt?
I turned 19 a week before, so I just graduated high school.
Yeah. Um, yeah, the day he got the ventilator out, he still could only really move his right arm, and his left arm now came into to a little bit. But yeah, that was probably the worst day, I would say, out of
Getting that out, yeah.
n-
Even with all the medication, I definitely felt getting out the breathing tube. That
and
not
it
a
was
fun thing.
also the day like Matt realized kind of what happened.
Mm,
In the hospital, I will say like Matt was in so much pain. Um, when his feelings started to come back, he described it as like pins and needles times 100, like the worst nerve pain you like could think.
yeah,
And
it kind of felt like I was just on fire.
we couldn't touch him, we couldn't hug him. The only thing we could do, and we did every single day and night, like all day, was we had to massage him. Like we would massage his hands, someone would be massaging his feet. But he was in so much pain, just like moaning in pain. But when the ventilator came out, this was like my worst time because it was we would sleep over in the hospital. It would be like me, my dad, my mom, my brother, or like our other brother. And then in this little hospital room, but and then one of Matt's friends actually, after his night shift, he came every single night for the first
Mhm.
couple weeks or week,
Blake.
Blake. Um, yeah, so that fourth night, Matt, like you would hear him a little bit moaning, and we went up to him. It was the first day he could talk because the obviously you can't talk with a ventilator. Um, and he was just like laying there crying, and he was like, I'm in so much pain. And we started massaging him. So I was massaging one hand, my dad, and then Blake was massaging his feet. It was like probably 4 in the morning, 3 or 4 in the morning. And he had said that he woke up from like kind of a dream of him playing baseball
Mhm.
and running and walking. And he was just like, him and my dad like sobbing with each other. I mean, we all were, but saying, I just want to run with my friends. I just want to play baseball. Like, what did I do to myself? I can't believe this. I just want to go outside. I just want to run. I just want to play. And I mean, that is just heartbreaking to hear.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I actually never really talk about that moment. That was rough. There's a lot of why me's,
Yeah.
just thinking about everything going on. And I remember specifically the reason why that stuff came up was because of my hands, really, and just probably never being able to feel again. Just that thought alone.
And Matt was like a really good at baseball. That's like all he played his entire life. That was like his whole life, basically. And he just had a really good season, and he was gonna go to college for baseball that next semester. So it was just like, why did this happen right now? Or why at all?
Yeah,
You really just don't think it will happen.
yeah, yeah. Baseball wasn't really a thought. It was more. I actually remember that dream pretty specifically, where it wasn't anything like it wasn't like a normal dream where it's just crazy and you don't really know what's going on. It was just very normal life of me going to the baseball field by my house, Caldwell Park, and playing in a game and pitching. And I just remember waking up and not even thinking about baseball really, just thinking about the movement of going out there, pitching, and walking back. And I remember I walked back to the dugout to my dad too. And seeing him next to me, that was very, very rough. Yeah.
It's, I talk a lot in the podcast about that one decision, and most of the times that one decision is a good decision, right? A decision we make to change the course of our life, a fear, fear we're getting over, starting a business, those kinds of things. But then there are those one decisions that we make that go in the
Hmm.
totally opposite direction, and we don't realize how devastating they can be. And it's you're never going to know sometimes until it happens. You could have jumped in and the water could have been way deeper and we wouldn't be sitting here today.
Yeah.
And when you just talked about the why, I often think when these kinds of things happen, and I want to get to the part where, things started to head in a good direction for you, but it was because had a calling you didn't know about. And, I don't know if that's come to your mind at all, to do what you're
Hmm.
doing now, which might never have been on your trajectory if it didn't happen this way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've thought of that at all.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely thought every day. And I mean, working at Project Walk can be hard at times if I think about like myself and everything I've been through. But then I do just think of that of like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be, even though I definitely did not think because I wanted to be like an architect. It was a totally different life, but now I'm like way more happy. Um, like it's very a blessing in disguise, I guess you would call it.
So just for the listeners to know, so I got to see Matt's journey from a very far space. I wasn't extremely close with their mom, Gail, but we're Facebook friends. So I learned all about what was happening through watching in devastation of seeing, this through a computer screen. And a lot of times that's what people do, right? We're not, not
Hmm.
close with them. You get to watch their journey. And I remember like talking to my kids about, I mean, I just remember feeling like as a mom, what it would feel like. It was, I get tears, just, I can't even imagine. Um, so I'm just glad that you're here and that we're having this conversation. In a world where trust drives decisions and relationships matter more than transactions, disconnection is something businesses simply cannot afford. I'm Jody Hope Grinwald, a leadership and connection strategist, and my work is different because I don't offer just a single framework or surface level fix. I bring an entire ecosystem built on connection with me. I work across leadership, career transition, teams, and client relationships, helping organizations rebuild trust where it may be strained and design their work so disconnection doesn't happen in the first place. Because when one link is off, it affects everything, and sustainable growth depends on keeping those connections strong. To learn more or inquire about me speaking at any of your events, reach out to me at Jody, Jodi, at todayisthedayliveit.com. And so we're 4 days out. You had a terrible dream, but a good dream, but a terrible dream at the same time. You don't have the ventilator in anymore. They're telling you you may not be moving, right? Forever potentially. How did that change, Matt?
Hmm. I would say the first thing I saw, it was actually less movement. Actually, the first thing, there was like three doctors that came around my bed. I would say, I don't know why, but like it was probably like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh wait.
Yeah. And they were seeing, I think they were just taking notes. And I wanted to show them that I could move the inside of my leg, my adductor. And they didn't believe it the whole time. when I was doing it. There's like, oh, you can't move. Like, I know you can't move. I read all the charts. It's impossible. And then I kept doing it. And I was like, I'm doing it. I'm the one doing it. And they just took it as spasms and wrote it on their board as spasms. But then I would say 2 days later, my surgeon came in and saw it himself. And he was like, this is definitely you moving it. You're like telling everyone you're doing it. It has to be you. And so that was the first one. Then another one I remember was him giving me a pinprick test on my feet, where they would actually use like a paper clip or whatever it's called on my toes to see if I have the feeling. And he was going through it. I would close my eyes and he would say, do you feel that? And I was answering yes, yes. And then eventually I went ghost cold because I didn't feel one that he said, did you feel that? And I was like, no, I do not feel that. And my heart dropped because I just thought all I have is like one toe that I could feel. And then it turned out he was like, I never actually touched you there. So I was just testing to see if you were telling the truth. And so that was probably the biggest jumping point of when I had the feeling.
So it was coming back, and your mental state at that point, um, you were determined. Do you feel like the reasons that this all was coming back had to do with your determination? And I want to share one thing real quick before I say this. This constantly happens where I hear people, and it even happened with my grandmother. They kept saying, no, it's just a muscle spasm. This
Hmm.
isn't you. It infuriates me when I hear
Oh
that,
yeah,
because I
it's
don't
crazy.
believe that. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, especially it's my body, and like a spasm's also me. It's just, I guess it's you're not in control, but it's still you doing it. I don't know why they tell you, because you can't really just like have someone else do a spasm for you. It still happens to like, it's still you. It's still in your head. It's coming from your brain somehow.
And it gives you hope. And
Yeah.
hope is what keeps you moving and going forward. So why take away someone's hope?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Luckily, I'm someone that is super competitive, and I would just like tell them, well,
Stubborn.
yeah, yeah, okay. Same thing, I guess. Yeah, but I just told him to get out of my room. I never actually saw those doctors again because I think, well, I didn't want to see them because I was very upset and just mad. And then I know as a fact, our mom definitely said
Yeah.
something crazy to them.
Our mom is extremely protective of us, and especially, then.
Yeah, she was living in the hospital with me every single day, even in like the rehab center. As she said, she always wanted to be my college roommate, and I guess she got her wish in the worst way possible.
Your
She,
mom is so amazing, and that's just amazing. And she was posting all your strides in such a proud mom format, and it was beautiful to see every time. I mean, I saw you. I remember this, like you were standing, holding on. I don't know what that apparatus is called,
Mm,
but it was, you straight line and you're holding on,
yeah, the
and
parallel
and
bars. Yeah.
the parallel bars. And I remember that, I just read how exciting it was just to see you vertical. To see you vertical was just a beautiful thing. So was it your determination? Was it the right doctors? Was it just the right mix? Was it family? What helped besides a great surgeon, like you said, Julia, that did the fusion correctly?
Yeah. I really all the above. Like the people around me helped mentally the most because I didn't really have to think about anything going on. I uh I was just very present in the hospital with when it came to the daytime, at least, because I did have a lot of people that came in and just we talked all like and watched movies. So I was very distracted, which in that time, you definitely distraction is a good thing. And then at night, I had my family there for when things got really bad because usually nighttime was definitely mentally harder. And then physically, I would say my OTs, my PTs, doing the research myself of knowing how to navigate. My surgeon, I think, is one of the greatest humans ever. Um, yeah, just like all encompassing. Just
And
there wasn't really
the
one.
nurses were amazing too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Nurses were great. I loved all my nurses.
All of them at every place, McGee and um, Atlantic City. They were so amazing
Yeah,
and like just a huge part of the recovery. We love nurses in our family.
yeah, yeah,
And they probably loved you too because they you were young and they wanted to see you walk out of there more than
yeah.
anything.
Oh
So
yeah. I'm
they
still
wanted.
in contact with some of the nurses, and yeah, they are very proud to see it. Yeah.
So when did when did you know you went through all the therapy and everything? Do you remember when you took your first step?
Hmm. I actually don't think I do because I was like harnessed up a lot of the times, and I would count that as my first steps. I remember that more than like the transition out of the harness. I'm trying to think.
It almost like all came together quickly. Like one day, like they put him on the harness, and then the next week, he could like kick his legs fully, and then the next week after that, he could like sit up with two people, and then the next week he could sit up with one person, and then finally, like he could stand kind of with like people just almost spotting him. Like
Well, yeah, I think I was on people's shoulders at that point, like holding on
it,
somehow because I actually got my legs before my arms mostly. Like at least how much I could control,
they
which
say,
Julia says my arms came back or some muscles fired first in my arms, but I
well,
always thought it was legs.
I guess the arm movement came first, but the thing that like really determined that he was okay below his injury was so this is like at his injury level in like the spinal cord. So C4 you could um so I'm not exactly completely sure, but if you are able to do this, that's like near surgery level on your
You
spinal
should
cord.
explain what you're doing for
Oh
audio.
yeah, for
Oh,
those who are
sorry.
listening.
If you're able to move your arm back and forth,
Like
it's
left to right.
left to right, yeah. That's around C4. But if you're able to flip your hand upside down, that's below the injury. So meaning like um they had a lot more confidence that he'd be able to recover after that moment. So um yeah, so he got this first, which is like pretty difficult if, you know, um
That's that's actually probably still my hardest thing to do.
they say in spinal cord injuries, it's usually your fingers and hands that take the longest to come back. Um, Especially like dexterity and just everything about moving your fingers and having like complete control over that. It's pretty like usually the hardest
Yeah.
um come back.
So what are your limitations today?
I would say it's like movement wise, I don't really think I have any limitations. I would say it just comes with a lot more motivation to do things. And I have to think about everything more. It's more pain. Like I have a lot of pain everywhere, pretty much.
Still the pain is still pretty there, huh?
Yeah, nerve pain all over, but mostly like very intensely in my hands and my back, neck are really just ache all the time. My shoulders kind of pop in and out of its sockets. My legs, I just feel like are 1,000 pounds, and it just takes a lot of control to and like thought to move them. Um, yeah, my I'm really tight pretty much everywhere. I have knots. Yeah, I mean Julia probably saw it pretty bad last night because we were walking around Philly, and I was that was after hitting in a batting cage, roller skating, and then we walked like 4 miles. It was probably like 2 miles, but yeah, it was by the end I was done.
I would have been done. I would have been. You
Yeah,
would have had me at the roller skating. I
yeah,
mean,
I was done after the baseball, but I just kind of kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is whenever I get tired, I just think of like how grateful I am to be able to do this. So it gets a lot easier, or I don't really,
Yeah, just a quick
I
mind.
shouldn't say focus, but I just like kind of keep going because I do still have to focus on what's going on.
And if you were to see Matt walking, like if just like a untrained eye wouldn't notice anything. Um, but like to me, I can definitely see there's like times of day or temperature changes. You can see like how stiff he gets when he walks. His arms are like little like I don't know how to describe it.
Okay, bud.
this is very brother sister right here. This
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah, you could definitely see it. And also like I'm pretty sure like bladder and stuff is was affected.
Yeah, yeah, that's still yeah, I just like I have to punch my stomach sometimes to get my bladder going, but yeah, it didn't have to throw in that detail, Jules.
Well,
Well, I'm just saying
here's
it's a huge part
yeah.
of it. It really
Yeah,
is. Like
yeah.
when we're out in public and like Matt is like, I have to pee. Like he has
Oh,
to
yeah.
go. Like he's running. He like you can't hold him back, basically.
Yeah.
But I know, Matt, some of these things are like you don't want to talk about, of course, because they're personal and stuff. But I will say for the person who's dealing with it right now, it becomes like it's not just me alone. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think one of the things I would suspect is that feeling of being so alone in that situation when you see everybody around you being a lot more independent and then you're dependent on them. So I feel like those listening who may be dealing with something like this can have more hope and know that,
Yeah.
you know what, bladder issues are bladder issues. They happen for people who are injured and not injured, but it's going to happen for people who are injured because of the injury and it's not abnormal. And I think that's a good thing for people to hear.
Yeah. Well, in that case, every if I don't go to the bathroom for 4 days, I have to take a suppository, like, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it affects that whole thing from, that all of those muscles internally and everything and the way things move. And
Mhm.
so,
And,
anybody
like,
who's listening.
also, like, it affects my organs, like, if I was to drink, I definitely like, things will be out of whack, and it takes a long time to recover, so I try not to as much. Um, yeah, certain things, like, it affected the lower part of my lungs, so breathing sometimes could be it would feel like I have to yawn, but couldn't, I guess, so I try and take deep breaths as much as possible. Yeah.
It is,
So I want to switch and talk about what you started with Unbroken Motion. Tell us about Unbroken Motion.
Jules, you wanna say?
yeah, sure. Um, Obviously we started Unbroken Motion inspired by Matt, and our mission is to empower individuals living with paralysis by removing financial and physical barriers to care. Um, and also, uh, you know, creating a support system for people. I think the biggest takeaway from Matt's injury, which we really wanted to incorporate into Unbroken Motion, was, I'll say for me, even though those were extremely hard weeks and months, honestly, like that whole year was pretty difficult.
Years.
Um, I will say like that time in the hospital was also for me at least. I'm not going to speak for Matt,
Oh,
but for me that was also the greatest, like one of the greatest times in my life because as much suffering and devastation as you go through, you receive just that much love and support and being surrounded by people every single day and just like always having someone by your side. I mean, for me at least, I'm like a pack animal. I love being with people and always having my family and always having my friends and everyone who came every day was just like so it just always felt like you were surrounded and supported and uplifted. And we really do think having that positive environment around Matt at all times in those like really critical weeks of, recovery was so important. And especially afterwards, it's just so important to be surrounded by people who love you and want you to succeed. Um, and I mean, even the years after when, you feel like the support starts to dwindle or whatever it is, there's still like those people, like those core people who are there for you and know what you've been through and are just doing everything that they can. And we had those people. Um, we want to be those people for others because we know firsthand, family, from my perspective and from Matt's perspective, like how important and life-changing, like just being surrounded by the right people are. And I mean, Matt and I have always been really, really close, but and our brother Zach as well. He's like a huge part of this as well. But yeah, just even just having like our sibling support has been, I mean, really just a great part of my life. Um, but yeah, we just want to do that for other people. Luckily, those people also were able to donate to Matt. Matt had a GoFundMe when someone started when he was first injured, and they like our community raised like $80,000 for him for his recovery. And having that meant access to care. It meant access to therapy. It's because of those people that Matt was able to recover. And there are people who don't have a support system, who don't have the ability to get access to care. And the thing about spinal cord injuries is it's not just like your initial recovery that's important, or like just going to this therapy for the first, however long after the accident. It is continuous, it is expensive, and you need it for your whole life, either to keep moving or just to even like uh be massaged if you don't have movement. Just it's all so expensive and very lonely and devastating. So we made Unbroken Motion for that reason, to be there for other people, to create a sense of community, um, and to provide people with what they need, whether that be therapy or, if they need a wheelchair or adaptive equipment in their house. Anything that can make, their lives easier because it is immensely difficult to live a life like that and you don't get to choose that. So we created Unbroken Motion with that foundation.
Julia, real quick, can you give everybody the website and social media?
Yes, it is just unbrokenmotion.org. That's our website. And then our social media is also at Unbroken Motion on Instagram, Facebook, and I believe LinkedIn, but we're working on that. We are fairly new. We came together. Matt always had the idea and the name for years, but you know,
Mhm.
we came together last year and officially founded it at the beginning of this year, 2026. So it's fresh, it's pretty fresh, but yeah, we're it's a work in progress.
Yeah, we're
Matt, I
doing
love
it.
the name.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, the first news article that was written about me was called Unbroken. And that I actually want it to be my first book. And I knew Unbroken was already taken by one of the best books ever made. And so I thought Unbroken Motion because a lot of it is about just moving forward and just keep on going. So that's where it
How are you
came from.
feeling? How are you feeling about the foundation and the launch? It must have felt amazing that because I know you had an event not too long ago, your first fundraiser, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it felt great just to be able to help the community and a lot of people I been helping for so long and just like it's just very gratifying that I'm doing something bigger than myself and helping others.
It is, isn't it? That's, and like we
Yeah.
talked about coming full circle here, it's like you had all those why moments. Why me? Why did this happen? And then you're standing in front of people and you're raising, you know, thousands of dollars to support other people. And then the
Yeah.
why all of a sudden becomes, okay, I think maybe I get it now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like everything I was grateful to have from community, family, and the movement coming back. I just want that for everyone else. So this is, I think this is exactly where we're supposed to do or what we're supposed to do.
And right now you're working for an organization that helps people as well as your other job, right? That helps with people as well who are going through this type of recovery.
Yeah, I work at Project Walk, New Jersey, and that's actually where I went. I would say 2 weeks after getting out of McGee inpatient, I started going to McGee's outpatient at the same time of going to Project Walk. And I was there for the next 2 years, and they helped me. I mean, I can't even say how much they helped me. So, yeah, they got me from, I think at that point, I was long distance wheelchair in my walker, and then they got me to run, jump, and play sports again.
Incredible. What an
Yeah,
incredible and amazing story. And I'm honored to share it here on the podcast. And I want to thank the over 135 countries that listen to this podcast. So we've been downloaded in so many different places. And I hope that for someone who's listening and hears this, you'll follow Unbroken Motion online. You'll find them, donate to them, support them so they can support other people. And Matt, how old are you now?
I am. I am turning 28 in a few days.
Oh, happy birthday. A
Yeah,
whopping
thank you.
28. But look, I know it probably feels like you lived a few lifetimes right now after
A
all you've been
hundred
through.
percent. Yeah, I
But
tell everyone I am 128 because that's what it feels like.
and Julia, you've been through it with him, so you may feel similarly
Yeah,
as
she's
well.
real old.
I don't know about that.
I love the brotherly sisterly love here. This is
Yeah.
awesome. Is there anything else? Because I could go on and talk to you guys for a long, long time, but I try to
Yeah.
keep the podcast to an hour, and I want to have you guys come back. Anything else that either one of you want to share, but something you want to share with the listeners before we go?
Nothing I could think of. There would just be so many stories, I guess, of trying to help people. Do you have
And
anything, Jules?
just that, if you're experiencing anything similar to what Matt went through, you're not alone in it. And I mean, if you're a sister or a mom or a brother or dad or a family member of someone who is going through something similar, um, it can be very devastating and lonely, and you don't know really what's going to happen. But as long as you keep a positive mindset for them, it'll eventually turn into a positive mindset for yourself. So I think it's just really important to, you know, just surround yourself and know that you're not alone in any part of it.
There's
Well
someone
said.
I'm Yeah, very well said. Very well said. There's someone I'm gonna have on the podcast. He had stage 4 cancer, and he went through a whole. He's literally almost cured, pretty much cured. But one of I wish I could remember the book they read, and I'm gonna let you guys know what it is. But it talks about the importance, the unbelievable importance of positive outlook, positivity, surrounding yourself with people who will lift you up. But think about this: why not in real life every day? Why does it have to take a major tragedy
Yeah.
to be surrounded by those who do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a huge part of it too. I mean, I think people who go through tragedies, um, they kind of can appreciate life in a different type of way.
Yeah. You
But
start to understand life in a way, I feel like.
it is like um I wish more people could, I mean, not to say I'm positive all the time, but
Yeah,
You're not.
it's
it,
really
it
you
doesn't shouldn't take, you know, that to really, appreciate every day and live in the moment and be present with everyone around you and yourself. So I think
yeah.
that's just life. It's you have to be there for yourself and for everyone.
Yeah, and I think the positive thought is very important. On the other side, I think it's even more important to when you do have the negative thoughts, you just have to let them go as fast as possible.
But feel them. It's really important to feel your emotions.
Yeah, which, yeah, I definitely do that. And then you just got to accept it and keep going. And then things, once you start doing that, things start to stay more positive.
Yeah.
I just have one more thing to ask that we didn't talk about, and maybe when we do a follow up, I hope we'll do a follow up. We can talk more about it. But mentally, for you, Matt, did you go to therapy? Or have you been in therapy to kind of help you handle all the changes that happened?
I I tried very early and I didn't like it too much. It was when I was in the hospital. It was just too much going on. And since then, not really. I probably used Julia too much, and she would probably say
I've been
I
yeah.
definitely need it
Well,
because
well,
there's, yeah, it could get dark sometimes.
I I've I've been in therapy for the past 10 years.
Mhm.
And plus that I was just like forced to go to therapy in school, but now I choose to go to therapy because I really do think it's so important. Um, because I mean, as much as you want to just be able to have a positive, good, healthy mindset and emotional regulation, sometimes you just really don't know how, and that's okay. And going to a professional who has seen this before or knows how to navigate um, how to help you, it's I think super important. And I will say maybe a follow-up could be that I think Matt's injury, the physical part wasn't the hardest at all. It wasn't. He recovered physically so quickly that it's almost like, how does your mind keep up with that? And I mean, the reason it took this long to start what we have started is because, I mean,
I had to be in the right place.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that
for
took
sure.
way longer than recovering physically. And I mean, there's a lot that goes in with that, but I recommend therapy to Matt. I recommend therapy to everyone. I think it is
I agree.
just the most helpful. If you go to a physical doctor, you should go to a mental doctor and just for a checkup, just to make sure you're doing okay.
I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy, and I honestly, I also, I'm a coach. I have a coach. I just feel like life is tough, and it's interesting you mentioned something, Matt. You talked about that moment when you were floating and you were upside down, and you're like, you felt this peace, like the human experience was gone. That should not be how it is. It should be peace when the human experience is happening. So
Yeah.
how do we find that center when we're in it, not when we're hurt and think we're leaving the earth? And that is something that I think therapy, surrounding yourself with the right people and knowing where you are emotionally can help you find that peace. It just
Mhm.
takes time. But I got to tell you, it took my breath away, no pun intended, when you shared that, because it made me in that moment, as the interviewer, think about why are we not having that peace when we're right side up?
Wow.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
So
like that. That is, yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to thank you both for sharing your vulnerability here. I love the banter between the two of you too. So this has really been super fun.
Yeah.
And the support between siblings is so important. And listen, for those of you who may not have a sibling out there, you don't have to be blood related to be supported by other people. There's
Yeah.
mentors, there's other people out there. There's today's the day is out there for you. So, reach out to me. I'm available on Instagram and Facebook under Today's the Day Live It, and follow us on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to Today's the Day Changemakers. Julia and Matt, thank you so much again for being part of this. Please come and
Yeah.
update us again, okay?
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you. Yeah, we would love to go on. Maybe Zach could join us, our
yeah,
brother.
our brother. He's a
Yeah.
ton.
We shall
Yeah.
do that. We shall absolutely do that. That would be awesome. And I'm going to say what I say at the end of every single podcast. Today is the day. You cannot go back to yesterday, and you do not yet own tomorrow. So, what small or large steps are you going to take today to get yourself closer to your goals? Thank you, everyone, for listening. And Matthew, keep up the good work. And Julia, what a great sister you've been. So, thank you for all you did for Matt, too.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Bye,
having
everybody.
me. Bye.